Hello and welcome to the Sanctuary, a safe space to speak from the heart. I'm your host, Israel, and my guest today is the CEO and co-founder of CodeLn. I got it right this time. Elohor Thomas, thanks for coming to
Yeah.
the Sanctuary today.
Hi, thank you so much, Israel, for having me.
Okay, yeah, I want to make sure I got the name this time. So tell what is CodeLn and what do you do there?
hmm Yeah, so I'm the CEO and co-founder of CodeLn. So CodeLn is an AI-powered SaaS platform that helps innovative companies seamlessly hire and pay skilled engineering talent. So we have a pool of over 17,000 engineering talent from across Africa. So this is a mix of software engineers, product designers, product managers, data scientists, data analysts, and the likes. Pretty much anyone involved in the entire product development life cycle of a software. We have them on our platform. It's an impact first startup, so we are trying to push the talent from the African continent and grant them access to jobs without borders, like we call it. Also helping innovative startups bring their ideas into products. So I think one of the things we drive for, we're also like startup friendly. We drive for is to help startups get their idea into reality basically, because some ideas so far, some ideas do not get to be in real products because of one reason or the other, due to budget constraints. And one of the things we realize that engineering talent is quite expensive, so we are providing startups access to engineering talent at a budget friendly cost, and helping them through the entire process. Even after hiring engineers from us, you want to pay the engineers. We also help the engineers themselves advance in their career. So we have a partnership with corporates like Microsoft and IBM to grant these engineers access to learning emerging technologies on their various platforms.
Holy smokes, that's a lot. Why did you start this company?
hmm it's a mix of different experiences I had when I was working. So for context, I have a background in engineering. I did a little bit of coding before I started the company. So I think there are two experiences that kind of motivated me to start the company. The first one was there was a time I facilitated a training by the Lagos State government at the time, and one of the tech companies I was working for, and the purpose of the training was to get 100 graduates to gain digital skills and get them employed in pretty much any sector, but get them employed for them to use the skills that they had acquired. So it was kind of like a set thing. You graduate, or you graduated like a year ago, 2 years ago, you come into this program, 3 months intensive training for you to become to have the skills of a full stack engineer, right? Of course, it takes a lot of experience to hit that, but like giving you the right skills. I think at the time our stack we focused on was JavaScript, right? And then after that, it was, of course, a program by the government, so you're assured that you'll be providing jobs. So what we noticed is we had a over 80% success rate in the training, but the sad part was only about 3% of them were matched to jobs. And when you check those 3%, you see that these are
Mhm.
people that knew people somewhere that were connected one way or the other to either mostly those in government, that were easily granted access to jobs. So because I knew the quality of candidates we had, a good number of them came back to me complaining that it's been 3 months, we were promised jobs, nothing has been done. In that particular situation, I didn't have the skill. I was not in a position to provide them jobs. But I felt bad because I knew they had the right skills to deliver
Mm,
on a job if they are provided, even though they were juniors. But I couldn't help them. So it just got me thinking, who's gonna help those that no do not have somebody to connect them, basically. It's gonna help them. Right. And then if these people have the right skills, if they are not connected to jobs, they're gonna shift away from that career path. So
mm,
that was one of the stories that motivated me to start. So when my team and I were at dating, we're like, okay, how can we help people that we know that the journey to learning how to code is quite a difficult one, but someone
mm,
has gone through the process, right? How can we help them um get access to that job? So it's like, don't worry, go do your thing, learn, be great at what you do, and we are going to be like that you're plugged to the access to
mm,
the job market,
mhm,
be it local, be it international, what's not. So that was one of the experiences that motivated me to start. So long story short, like it's my job. I went for the accelerator program, yeah, and I found three amazing people. I decided to pick it up.
So, what job was it doing, and was it difficult to quit? And how did you pick your co-founders?
Yeah, so at the time, so this is another interesting story that actually motivated me in starting my company. Right. At the
Mm,
time, I have a for context, I have a background in software engineering. I worked as a software engineer. I did a bit of coding. So for this, my last work experience, I worked with a startup. It was quite a small one at the time. I was the only software engineer at the company. So, when people ask me, I keep saying that one of the most challenging tasks I was assigned while working as software engineer was not one that was technical. I mean, you have Stack Overflow and Google for all of these things to find resources whenever you hit like a roadblock and whatnot. But for me,
mm,
it was the time when my boss told me, "Hello, this the team is scaling fast, and then we need to hire someone senior to you. We need to hire a senior engineer to oversee like technical operations, and you're gonna be in charge of conducting the interview." So what it meant was that I had to go through the process of sieving through CVs, sourcing candidates, technical interviews, and then to the point where I have to bring the right people I felt were right for the job to the boss for culture fit interview. So for me, I panicked because I mean at the time I would say I was like mid level. I was mid level. I was like, okay, what should a senior engineer? What are the skill set a senior engineer should have? For example, how am I going to conduct the interview? Knowing well that this person is of course senior to me and is going to oversee me eventually. So what I did was
mm.
I spoke to some of my friends that were senior engineers and mentors at the time because Google was helpful. I did a lot of researching on what to look out for when hiring for senior engineers. So fast forward to when I started my company, it just got me thinking that if as technical as I was, I panicked when I had to hire someone senior, how much more founders that are non-technical, how much we they struggle, not knowing some of them have no idea what full stack or backend engineers the skill set they should have. They just know that they have this
Mhm.
idea and they want to build a product. So those were some of the skill set that motivated. Those are some of the stories that motivated me to start my company. So we're like, okay, how can we also help this set of people seriously hire? You don't have to be technical to hire a software engineer to build, even if it's your first product. So for my co-founders, I went through an accelerator program. Interestingly, yeah. So it was that particular job that I quit. After I worked with them for a while, helped them hire the person they wanted to hire, which was good. And then I realized that I was up for the next challenge, relating to or recounting most of the experiences I had while working. I was like, okay, I think I want to start my own thing. And then I went for an accelerator program. It was a 1 year program in Ghana. So the program brings entrepreneurs from different African countries together to Ghana. So we had folks from South Africa, Ghana, Kenya, Nigeria, Zimbabwe, I think about 6 African countries at the time. So it
Wow.
was during the accelerator program. I mean, we were together. It was very, very intense. It was interesting. We taught business, communications, and technology as well, even though some of us were a bit technical. So we're together for a year. You were seeing these people every single day. So you knew the ones that you feel you could work with. And the purpose of the program was to form a company, pick your team from the cohort, and then form a company and you could get funded. So I was one of the lucky few that got funding. I found three amazing people, two of them Kenyans, one from Ivory Coast. And our visions aligned. We all had a background in engineering. Most of the stories I recounted, they also had these experiences as well. And they were like, okay, how can we help people in our field? How can we help fellow engineers like us gain access to jobs, their dream jobs? How can we help? And we were in the ecosystem for a year, the startup ecosystem. We saw founders struggling to hire as well. We're like, okay, how can we help these founders as well? So the idea of coding kind of came up from that idea, and then luckily enough, we got the funding at the end of the training, and so that was in late 2018. So it's been 5 years plus now, still running.
Wow. That's crazy.
Mm.
So, I mean, like you set up, was the company set up in Ghana, in Nigeria? I mean, I knew it's international, but
Mm.
where's the
Yeah,
headquarters,
yeah,
I guess?
yeah, yeah. Okay, so yeah, the Delaware core, we have a Delaware core, which is the HQ currency, but at the time we had an
Right.
entity in Nigeria and in Ghana because that's where we had operations. So we worked in Ghana and that was a very good market for testing the idea. So we started out as a community and we really brought it up into a business in like 2020. So COVID was a really great year for us. So we started out as a community, gathering the community from various countries. So currently we have over 17,000 candidates from across Africa. This is because my co-founders and I, we had like various communities in our various countries. So it was as easy as telling them, hey guys, we've started this cool new thing, get your access to jobs from anywhere, and then brought the community together. So we grew that for like 2 years before we breathe into like a proper company. So we did that in Ghana for about 2 years. Ghana was a very good starting ground for us because it was easy to get access to like key decision makers or stakeholders in Ghana. And then we expanded to Nigeria. Nigerian market, of course, is more intense. There are various hierarchies, and you know how things are done there. You need to source one or two people to get access to certain areas. So it was like a little goal for us, but it was a bigger market. So even currently, we have more clients in Nigeria than we do in Ghana. And then
No, it's
once we
not.
cracked the Nigerian market, we're like, okay, what's the next step, especially as it ties to our fundraising goals. So we
Mm.
set up a Delaware core and then expanded. We got into an accelerator in New York, right? So that was our first entry into the US market. Got into the program. Got so right now we have clients across Northern America, Canada, and the US, and then we have a few clients in the European markets. Then we have clients in across Africa as well.
So, I mean, I get the recruiting the engineers because you're kind of in that pub, but how did you get the other people like, hey, we have this thing, you need it? How did you get the actual people that employ these engineers?
Oh, okay, okay. So yeah, getting the community was not as difficult because, like as I mentioned, we had various communities. I was very active in Python Nigeria at the time before I started the company. My co-founder in Ivory Coast had his own active community. My co-founders in Kenya as well. So for the supply side, so to say, it wasn't that difficult. And then when you get the pool of talent, of course, these are people you have to engage them. So and when we started, we did a lot of boot camps, did a lot of hackathons, we made a lot of noise because it is the community that will actually push your product to the eyes of their employers, so to say, because their employers are constantly hiring. The turnover rate for employees in and the sector is there's lots of what's it called, retention is not that high, which I mean we can talk, that's another topic on its own entirely, but what we started after the community. So the community kind of pushed forth the word for us. It was kind of like a form of referral from the engineers. They attend their employers, okay, CodeLn can help you hire in this market, you're looking for this and that. So the community pushed the word for us. And then what also helped is partnerships. So our investor at the time was very helpful in the ecosystem, doing introductions. Those were like soft entry into the market, even while we were testing out a couple of things, while we're pushing the community. And then we got to the point where we are like, okay, we are ready to grow. We had to get salespeople, we had to scale the sales team. And then interestingly, 2020, when COVID hit, it was very interesting. But that's when we had like a boom in our business because we're just on our own. And we had people reaching out to us from the UK, from different countries saying, okay, we want to hire, how can you help us? We're like, okay, how did you find us? Things like that. I think our SEO is pretty good. So that's one thing. So for us, we're like, okay, this is really a business and this is really interesting because I feel like at that time, companies saw the need to either have a product be online, because like shops were closing, things like that. So we did a lot of consulting. We got a lot of clients 2020, and since then it's been like a boom. So we've gotten referrals. Another interesting thing we've noticed is because we've been around for 5 years, so we had people that were probably mid-level, senior level engineers on our platform, and then they grew in their career path to becoming maybe CTOs or founding their own startups. So they are coming back
Right.
to us. So it's kind of like a chain, right? They are aware of us. Yeah, we help them maybe get some of the gigs or jobs they got in the past. And now they've gotten to the point where maybe they've gotten the startup, they face some funding, they are coming back to CodeLn to help them
Mm.
hire because I mean, this clearly see the value that we are offering.
Mm. Mm. Okay, man, this is all pretty well and good. So let's talk. How does it work? I'm an engineer. I find out
Mhm.
about coding. What do I do on my side? And then I'm an employer. What happens on my side?
Yeah. So for the engineers, we have this year we have 3 events planned already. We are in partnership with the community called Tech Ignite that they have like weekly podcast sessions to help connect the ecosystem, technical system, basically, so they are discussing topics of interest. For example, AI, is AI going to take our jobs? What can we do to have more female in tech? So we are very active in the ecosystem. We work with communities to get the word out there to enlighten people on excuse me, the skill set you should have in this changing work. I mean, the tech space, things are constantly changing, So that's something we do. So it kind of gets the word out there about us, and we are having people signing their numbers on the platform. So basically, we have a web platform. We also have a PW as well. So they sign up on the platform.
Sorry.
They
What's the
have
second
tests,
thing
so
you
you
said?
can, even if you've not been matched to your
You said you have a web platform and something else. What was
yeah.
that second
Okay, I
thing?
said. Oh,
You have
okay.
a
It's like
web
a mobile app,
platform.
kind of. We have a
Oh,
mobile app
okay.
as well.
All right.
Yes, and yes, a web platform. Yeah, so we have a web platform. So they sign up. When they sign up, they there are different tests they could take to improve on their skills. We have quizzes, we have algorithm tests, we have project based assessments. So they could get busy on the platform, and while we try to match them to their jobs or match them to certain opportunities, not just jobs, because we have one candidates signing up for internship positions, candidates that are signing up for just like gigs
Mm.
that they are working full time, they are cool with their jobs, they need gigs and things like that. So they are already on the platform. And then employers, on the employer side, still the same thing. They come on the platform, they sign up. But in this case, they have access to see a couple of profiles that we have on the platform, but then they have to post a job to see the skills of candidates that closely match the job they're posting for. So everything is automated. It's a very seamless platform. They come on the platform, they sign up, they post a job, candidates apply, they see the CVs. They can manage the applications on the platform, which is interesting. And then they can even set interviews on the platform. And then even after they've hired from the platform also allows them to manage payroll. So they can make payments on the platform to their employees. So even if it's for short-term gigs, even if it's for long-term gigs as well. So it's a whole it handles pretty much the entire process from finding your candidate to even after you have hired your candidates, to we provide, like I said, we do collaborations with IBM and Microsoft specifically. We also have other partners that we work with to provide access to learning resources for our candidates. So even if you've hired these candidates, the candidates still on our platform, we are providing them learning resources to learn emerging technologies, AI, what's not, machine learning for those that are interested in the new skill set. Even for the basic programming languages, they are constantly improving on the version. So we are keeping them informed on what skill set they should keep building on while they are working with you.
Why? So your team, I mean, there's a four of you. How did you get to be the CEO?
Four of us, interestingly, we all have a background in engineering. So before we came into the accelerator program, we all coders, which is interesting, right? So but one good thing about the accelerator program is it kind of helps you to show your strengths. So for me, even though I had a background in engineering, I had worked with Jumia, not in a technical capacity, but as a sales consultant before my master's and while I was doing my master's. So it was a consulting role, and I was a sales consultant. I had my team, I was managing and all of that. Interestingly, I was one of their top salespeople for fashion. I don't know how that happened, but I think a lot of my friends were buying a lot of fashion items. So I just like selling. And maybe you could say yeah, I just like selling. So basically, what happened was during the accelerator program as well, you could show your area of strength based on various activities that we're giving. For example, I think there was one of the activities they gave us where they were like, I think we're giving 20 CDs and we had the whole weekend to bring it up to see who could make the most money from 20 CDs, something like that. So activities like that could show your strength in like selling, in like growing the numbers and things like that. So for my teammates, I think I was nominated because I had prior sales experience or prior business experience a little bit amongst the others. Not like they couldn't do it, but they, and also depending on what role they really wanted to take in the company. So the others were more technical than myself, and they had been doing it for longer than myself. And then and then like they were comfortable in that space. So two of them are very technical. They are the ones managing our technical departments right now. And then one other one was still technical, but he was also great at partnerships and whatnot and connections. So we're like, okay, that's his strength. He could focus on products itself while I focus on being a CEO. So it was a unanimous decision.
Yeah, no, that's great. So what's it for CodeLn now? What's in the, I guess, near future for CodeLn?
hmm I mean, yeah, like I said, we survived 4 years. They usually say things happen before 4 years, so we are excited about that. So we are on our fifth year and counting. So we are looking at scaling across different markets. So currently, I think we have the most reached in Latin America market in terms of international market. In Africa, we are pretty much well known. We are one of the, I would say, one of the people doing really interesting stuff around automating the entire process of hiring. I mean, we have competitors and whatnot, but like in terms of automating the entire process, in terms of speed, which is what our clients have really mentioned, they're excited about. We can get them engineers in like as fast as they want, so which is something exciting.
Mm.
Right. Also looking at the international market, we are looking at expanding across Northern America as well as across Europe. We have a few clients in the European markets. We are looking at that expansion. We're looking to fundraise. We are currently raising our seed round. It's going very interesting because of what's happening in the market. But of course,
Right.
you have to keep pushing. Yeah, we're looking at expanding our team across various departments and markets as well. So in summary, it's pretty much scaling. We don't see us like we are seeing ourselves. We see ourselves. We see that we are going to be there for the long term. We want to be this one platform where if you say you're looking for quality engineering talent. For now, we are sticking to engineering, but we see ourselves scaling this beyond just engineering because it's actually something we are doing out of passion to help connect youth on the continent to opportunities, global opportunities. Because if you look at the African continent, we have one of the youngest population amongst all the continents. We have the most population in terms of working age talents, right? And
Mm.
I think there's an estimated research that says that as in 2050 you're gonna have Africans in different across different markets, right, in the workforce. So we are going to be like the leaders in the workforce in terms of having a talent from Africa in different regions. So we want to be part of that, the people that push for some boosters our talent in Africa, letting the world know that there's talent in this region, letting even not just beyond just international, even locally. So another interesting thing we do is that we have engineers in Nigeria working for companies in South Africa. We have engineers in
Mm.
Kenya working for companies in Nigeria. So it's beyond, it's just jobs without borders. So be it within the continent, be it outside the continent, wherever it is you want to get jobs. It could be for the experience as well. I want to know what it's like working with a South African company. I want to know what it's like working with a company in Rwanda, for example. We are giving you
Mm.
access to that opportunity. So in summary, I would say yeah, scaling what we are doing.
Wow. And what you're doing is actually important. But you mentioned something that made me think of, because just a couple of days ago, actually 2 or so days ago, OpenAI demoed their new thing. Google demoed their new thing. You have AI embedded into your company. It's like people just kind of point the phone, the app, whatever they call it now. I
Mhm.
was like, hey, this is a problem. Go ahead, solve it, and the thing just solves it. Like, how is that affecting jobs, especially when it comes to coding and things like that?
So interestingly, someone once said this, and I agree with it that AI is not going to take our jobs. The people that know how to use AI are the ones that are most likely to take the jobs, right? Because I mean, if you understand how the system works, it works on its own fine, but you need human. It has to be a human has to oversee the process. Even if you are non-technical, you feel like you can build an app, you need to know the right questions to ask Google AI or to ask ChatGPT for it to bring the right answers. And when it brings the answers, you need to be able to understand the answers. You can't be
Hmm.
somebody that's not coded at all in your life and you're like, okay, build me a mobile app for e-commerce, and then it gives you a chunk of code and you're like, okay, it makes sense out of it. It doesn't work that way. Right. So I don't think that I'm not one of those people that think that robots will take our jobs or AI is going to take our jobs because and I don't think that robots can rule the world, right? So there's this thing with human intelligence that cannot be found in a machine. Fine, they can do things 10 times faster than humans, but mostly things in what's it called? Things in sequence, things that you could say they are the repetitive tasks is what they can do faster than we. For example, you can ask me 1 million times, 1 million times, 3 million, whatever, whatever. I won't be able to just figure it out ASAP, but the machine can do that. But when it comes to things that requires cognitive reasoning, you need humans to do it, of which I feel like not really I feel like that's typical of what most solutions are about these days. Right. So yes, I feel like people should not see it as a threat. AI is definitely helping instant things. It's just like when our parents in the times of our great grandparents, there was no calculator, we're using our fingers and stones to count. And then calculators came. If you read like the stories or the research back then, people were worried about it, like, no, our kids are not going to be smarter or what's not. They were so used to the manual process of doing things. There were lots of pushback, but then calculator has not stopped us from thinking. We still think, right? So it hasn't restricted even the kids so much. So I don't think that is a limitation. Although what I think is people need to understand how to use these tools in order for them to be relevant. So interesting is that it is an interesting story. A friend of mine is a startup founder when the whole buzz around ChatGPT was happening, he's technical, like he's been coding for years. So he was like, "Hello, this is crazy. I can just type in the chunk of code. Like I feel like I wouldn't need junior engineers anymore. Like you just tell the system what to do. The senior engineers can use it. What's not what." I'm like, okay. He was so excited. He was sharing. He was like, "I'm going to fire all my junior engineers. Yeah, I'm going to fire them unless they can show me why I should keep them in the team. They need to prove themselves." I'm like, okay, okay. Let's have this conversation again in 3 months. And then it didn't even take off to 3 months. He came back and I was like, so I think I will still be needing them. So I feel like it's all about now. Yeah, everybody's excited because like this can do this can do that. But they need to realize that it also needs human supervision.
Mm.
So I don't think in summary, I don't think it's gonna happen any soon. It's not gonna take over the jobs right now.
Okay, okay. So, I mean, you've told me about CodeLn, about all these amazing future plans you have. So I'm wondering, with all the things you do, with all the work you do, I want to end it with this question. Actually, no, I'm not going to end it with this one. But I'm just curious, what are some things you do to relax?
Oh, okay. That's an interesting one. So to be fair, when I started my company, I struggled a lot with work-life balance because we had to prove that we had the products, we had investors asking for KPIs and what's not. But what I realized is the fact that you work from 9 a.m. to I was literally one of the last people to leave the office. Back then in Ghana, I was leaving the office by 11 p.m. But then, of course, Ghana was quite safe. So it was easier, and my house was like a walking distance. So I was working from like 9 a.m. to like 11 p.m. So when I realized it, I was getting results, but it wasn't because of that I was productive, right? I needed that
Mm.
break, I needed that rest, I needed that work-life balance to be more productive, right? So maybe it was needed at the time, but I wouldn't advise anybody to do it. It was like just too much and it was not at the point. It wasn't just me, my co-founders. We were just taking turns to support you. All right, we have to cut down on this, right? But then we got over. This was like our first year, basically. Second year we had struggled a little bit, but like third year we're like, oh geez, doing our things, we knew how to have work life balance. So right now I'm in a very I'll say I have attained work life balance. So I'm in a very comfortable space. I know what works for me. I've studied myself, my patterns and what's not. So I do walks. So when I'm in Lagos, I walk down from Ikoyi Link Bridge. I walk like straight down to through. It helps like just the sea breeze coming in while you're walking, thinking of things. It helps reflection and everything. That's something interesting I do. Sometimes I take a jog, which is cool. Another interesting sport I started doing, I think, a couple of months back was frisbee. So it's like a game you throw a disc across the thing of 7 by 7. That's something that's really exciting that I do. I used to do it every Sundays. So I'm looking to resume. I took a break. So I'm resuming on Wednesday, interestingly. Here in New York, there's a club I'm going to at Prospect Park and just not far from me. So I'm going to do that. And then one thing I do as well is I paint and draw, but like it's
Oh,
mostly when yeah, it just comes out of like when I'm trying to distress. So I interesting, I didn't know that was like a form of therapy. until I googled it and I saw that people were doing it. I was like, okay, I'm not weird. Yeah, so I do painting, I do drawing. I've done a few on canvas. I do adult coloring as well. So these are things that just take me away from my space to like the creative world when I need to distress, you know. And then a couple of other things as well. I do dancing, hip hop, house. Like I used to go for classes and whatnot. So I just try to do at least two things that are not in my field in a week. So
Oh.
I used to do dancing on Wednesday and frisbee on Sunday. So just to take me off all the work forever. And interestingly, most of my friends are in tech or in startups. So I don't want to talk to you guys about startups 7 days a week. So when I go dancing, I'm talking to creatives about something entirely different. When I
Mm.
go for my game, we're talking about something entirely different. And another thing I'm taking to is I want to start collecting art. So I got a mentor, is a is an artist very well known. So he's guiding me through the process of collecting art because I love artwork. I go to lots of galleries. So just one of the things like that.
Okay. That's actually more than one or two things, but yeah. I'm gonna end it with this one. I found it seems like you found something you love, right? What do you think in your childhood or people you've met or lessons you've learned that has led you to where you are now?
Yeah. So interestingly, my dad was an entrepreneur, so I feel like saying that maybe I got that DNA from him, sort of. But yeah, it was like someone I'd watched while growing up and really motivated me. And there was one experience that happened while I was young that made me see the world beyond just where I was, right? So I'm the last child of three girls, so there was a time when I was playing with my siblings, and then there was this thing they used to do way back in the days where they say, I think they still do them. The bottle covers, if you have like three and then you open them, you see certain things, you could get opportunities. Maybe you could get a TV set or whatnot if you can get three of the exact things. So I think at the time I was very little. I still remember the experience. I had saved two, it was remaining more. It was something about getting a trip to Dubai. I was so young, I was in like primary business school at the time. So I was talking to my sister, I was like, "Ah, but so I'm going to get one." And then one of them was like, these things are difficult. Like being a child, she was being very realistic. These things are difficult. When do you think you're going to have the extra one and then move, like travel to Dubai for vacation? So we just laughed it off. My dad was like, no. So there was something he said at that point. He was like, no, don't see yourself. Always see yourself beyond limitations. You can achieve whatever you want to achieve. Even though we knew that it was going to be very difficult to get the last bottle cover, but to me, that gave me the idea that I could be anywhere I wanted to be because that particular bottle cover was specifically for traveling to Dubai. Like I knew nothing about Dubai, but I just wanted to travel, for the experience and
Mm.
vacations and whatnot. So that was some of the things that motivated me. So even at the point where we started, when I was seeking opportunities within my region and even beyond. So that's what got me to. I think that so far I've traveled to over almost 9 countries right now beyond outside of the African continent, Northern Europe, Northern America, Europe, and whatnot. So that's something that's motivated me, and the way he has guided us, like while we're growing up. So I'll say it's my number one mentor. But another thing too, I realize is at every journey as an entrepreneur, you need mentors. So while we were very early stage, we had mentors that were very vast in what we needed, access to market, go to market, markets research and whatnot. And then when we started scaling, we needed a certain type of mentor. So at different phases, we realized various programs that we needed and the mentors we needed to guide us through those processes. So I would say I can call so many names. Like I'm waiting for the time when I will do like both of times. Like the list is gonna be long. I've had people support me and my journey, even from when I was a software engineer to right now I'm growing my business. So yeah, you definitely need people. You cannot underestimate the need for mentors in one's career and life generally.
Wow. Elohor, it is awesome talking to you. Thank you for sharing and thanks for the awesome thing you and your team are doing at CodeLn. Oh, and also thanks for coming to the sanctuary today.
Oh, thank you.